So in the past, I made a video talking about content creators exploiting bot lobbies to get free content. And I feel like it's time I go over this again, especially with another situation coming up. For those of you who don't know who Floating Koala is, he is another YouTuber who called out another one of the bot lobby YouTubers. And as a result of him calling out the bot lobbyer, he got a copyright strike on his channel and the video taken down. That's just one example of the length that these rats will go, just to make sure that the viewers that these people have never find out that their creator they think is so good is not as good as they actually think they are. And if you're hearing this right now and you're thinking, who cares, they're allowed to do that, you're just being a hater. To an extent, you're right. I am a hater, but I'm a hater with honor. And I'm also going to explain to you why what they do actually hurts the game and other creators at the same time. Now, of course, I can't say or show who I'm talking about because, like, that's just too risky and I would never do that. But there's going to be way more people than just a few. It's more creators than you guys probably think. With that being said, don't send hate to anybody, because once you start sending hate to people, it's going to make it way worse than it needs to be. The best solution really is just to stop supporting these people. Now, to give a little comparison, let's look at the type of lobbies that I get and the other legit people like me get daily in pretty much every game. I mean, this is basically what the people in these lobbies look like in our lobbies. Now, let's look at the lobbies of the people who are clearly abusing the system. I mean, this looks really hard to get, like, YouTube games in, Like, I don't know how I would ever do it with a lobby like that. But moving on, let's actually talk about why is this bad for the game. Now, I'm going to look at this from a player perspective and a content creator perspective because I feel like I can experience both sides pretty well. Because if I talk from a player perspective, I think you guys will definitely relate and you'll understand what I'm saying. But as a content creator, I also want you guys to know why this kind of hurts everybody else at the same time. So the problem here from a player perspective is, imagine if you're new to Apex, you're level 10, you barely know what you're doing in the game, and you're fighting dudes who have basically like 7,000 hours on the game. Doesn't sound very fun, right? I don't even like fighting people my skill level half the time, so I can only imagine being worse than the people I'm fighting. It would honestly feel horrible. And when you're new, I assume you're not dedicated to Apex. So if your pub experience is just getting absolutely rolled, you probably just won't even play the game again. And honestly, I feel it's important for the lifespan of Apex to honestly baby the new players as much as you can and make them have the best experience possible to turn them into long-time players. Because once you get to the point I'm at, or people like me are at, no matter how bad the game is, you have like Stockholm Syndrome and you're stuck and you'll never quit. The new players do not think like that though. I think what I'm saying here is honestly a big factor that should be taken into account for anyone who ever tries to defend things like this. Because I have had people tell me that there is nothing wrong with what they're doing. Now, what I'm about to say next is kind of a player and content creator perspective both. So, since I do Apex as my actual job IRL, I know, weird, playing games for a job, very weird. I can tell you that getting 20 kill games or above is it's very rare. A majority of the time, you will actually go days without even getting a single good game. And I feel like a majority of you watching this will even agree with what I'm saying in that aspect. So, just kind of take that into consideration when you see people somehow uploading daily like 20 to 30 kill games and multiple in one video. That is definitely not normal for anyone who's in their lobbies as supposed to be if they're a good player. But of course, there is always exceptions to this rule, and there is some people who they get really lucky or they're really insane, and they will get daily, really high kill damage games. So just know, there's always exceptions to the rules. Now, let's look at this from a content creator's perspective. One of them is even suspected for wall hacking, but with a claim like that, I feel like you need to have solid evidence, so I am not going to really go into that anymore. But regardless, that's besides the point. Now let me talk about this from a perspective of other potential Apex content creators. Imagine you're trying to market yourself as a good player who's trying to get 20 kills in 4K to upload to YouTube or some other platform. And you feel you're just as good as the other creators who are getting way more views than you. So eventually you might start getting some more viewership and catch up because you're genuinely a good player and people want to watch that. Well, maybe you'll never be viewed as a better player than you truly are because your competition is other YouTubers who are bot lobbying and dropping 520 bombs a day. It would definitely feel pretty demotivating knowing that you have competition that you cannot compete with unless you start abusing the system yourself. And at the end of the day, I guess it is an honor versus no honor type of thing. But I feel what is best for Apex and viewership and all its content is all authentic, genuine content. In fact, we even have the kill record broken by a guy who got into a lobby with a collective total level of like 57 is what it looks like. No one in that lobby looks like they're higher than level 1. And I'm not trying to target anyone in specific, but anyone who does this in general, it is not good for the game whatsoever. I just feel as a content creator myself, it is important to build a genuine connection with your audience. Because these people who watch you are also the same people who are making you money. I don't know how it doesn't feel wrong to them to basically be lying to their entire audience. I'm not trying to just make this video and sound like I'm on some high horse or anything like that. But I feel like I can't use a better word to describe it than like, it just seems very ratty. And I can't even say this video is going to make any difference at all. But I just want to put the message out there. I personally feel it is better to support the people who are actually authentic in the content that they make. And just keep that in mind going forward.